On this week's hunt, I'm taking you guys into the fields of prickly pear and cholla, into the flatlands of north central Mexico.
This is pretty nice on the fingertips here. Once you take them out of the sleeping bag, it starts getting pretty chilly, so.
I'm joined on this hunt by my father, and we're here to find ourselves a couple of big old gnarly bucks.
Hopefully mine's just a little bit bigger than his.
Now it's late January, and the deer are in the tail end of the breeding season. We've got 2 tags in our pockets and 7 days to fill them. So with that in mind, it's time to get moving. This piece of ground we're calling home for the next week is a vast 5,000-acre parcel. The landowners are cattle ranchers, but they allow a couple of hunters back here per year to capitalize on the healthy mule deer population. Fortunately for the old man and I, we're the only 2 hunters in here this season.
Okay, so a couple things. First off, when you're glassing into the sun, like I was saying earlier, make sure the sun is not hitting your face. That's why I wear this. See, if I was like this, the sun's right in my eye there. Go like this, and now the sun doesn't get between my eye and this. Okay?
My father, Dan, also known as the Silver Fox amongst the Alpine Carnivore crew, hasn't blessed me with his presence on a hunt for the better part of a decade. As the busy owner of Lakino Lake Lodge, he spends his seasons guiding clients for giant Canadian moose, black bear, walleye, and northern pike.
What an experience, hunt in Mexico, in the desert. Never thought I'd do something like this, it's crazy.
There are a lot of cows on this chunk of land here in front of us. I'm sure the deer are used to them by now, but it's just really odd to look at, to be thinking about the deer just walking in between. There's probably 50 cows here just below us. I'm sure we'll pick some up. Yesterday, Francisco was pretty adamant that those deer in the mornings like this love this patch of cholla. He said there's some real good bucks back here, so we're just gonna give it our all here, listen to what he had to say, and hopefully they're back in here. We'll see. Time will tell. Well, that wasn't much of a hike up, but we made it up here to where we're gonna set up camp. So it might take us a half an hour or so, then we're gonna have some lunch, just kind of hang out, wait a couple hours, and then get back to glassing. So it's about last half an hour of daylight here, and we haven't been seeing anything here, but I just heard Trav whistle at us and flag us over. He grabbed his camera and ran, so I'm assuming my dad just spotted a deer on the backside of this ridge here. So we're just gonna grab the rifle, head over there. Hopefully they found themselves a buck.
It's
It's not a cow.
No.
No. Well, let's all glass here.
Like I was glassing.
Yeah.
And I spotted it coming this way. And then, the hill was there.
Oh, so it's under here, down here somewhere. Okay. All right, well, let's all throw some glasses right here and try and figure out what he found. But it was more over here, Dad. Or like, so this is a triangle.
Right here.
Inside the triangle, there's like that fence line. This road, that road right there. Okay, so we just picked up a bobcat. He's moving real fast. He's going through the brush. We're just trying to find a good shooting spot here to get on him. But I don't know if we're gonna be able to make this happen before dark. He's just walking so fast that every time I find a good shooting spot, then he just moves out of range or out of view with a shrub in the way. So we're just taking our time. Hopefully he stops here for a minute and we might be able to get a crack at him. I wouldn't mind trying out some bobcat tonight, frying it up on the grill. I know lynx tastes delicious, so I'm sure it's pretty similar. Well, we lost the bobcat. It's gone and now it's getting dark, so we're gonna head back to camp, but kind of a pretty slow day other than that cat. We did not see one deer all day, just a bunch of cattle and a couple javelina here at the end of the night, but that's it. So we're kind of thinking tomorrow, instead of spending any time here, we're gonna hike up this ridge and just hike this whole ridge line and kind of scout the area a little bit better, and hopefully we can at least find a pocket of does. If we can find a pocket of does, I'd love to just sit on them and wait for a buck to come in, because the rut is still going on right now. We just have no deer here to actually see. So hopefully tomorrow we can find some deer and get on a little buck. Wow, I just spotted the first deer of the trip, and it's Coos deer. Coos deer doe. So we're hunting muleys, not whitetails, and that's a whitetail. Now, what they've been telling us, and we've been trying not to hear, is that the muleys are in the flats. They said you'll see some in the mountains, but most are in the flats. We really wanted to kill them up in the mountains, ideally. So if we don't really see any up here today, we're probably going to have to listen to them and start hunting the flats. But really hoping that, I mean, it's still early morning, we can see some deer here, see some mule deer, and get my confidence back up, because it's starting to get beat down a little bit here. Well guys, I'm baking in the Mexican sun like a burrito. It's like 11:30 here. Still no sign of life on the flats.
After a full day and a half of seeing nothing but cows, cats, and coyotes, it was really starting to seem like we were just there to guard the herd of cattle from predators. So it was time to change up the strategy. So we decided to split up the group. The timber wolf and the silver fox are going to stay up on the mountain to keep watch for any deer that may be hitting the cholla or the watering holes.
Well, we got camp all set up. It's 10 after 4 now. We can get up to that glassing knob and see if we can find ourselves a buck, eh?
We got a beautiful camping spot now.
Are we due to find the deer or what?
Oh, are we ever? Are we ever? This is second evening here. Then we're gonna go and do some glassing, and hopefully we see something.
Something, at least a doe.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Now, Cheese and I are packing our bags and heading down to hunt the flats. We're going to do some exploring of the property in hopes we can find some fresh sign and maybe even turn up a buck or two while we're at it.
Francisco dropped this off about half an hour ago. It's not too much happening just yet, but we got about an hour and a half left of daylight. So we're just gonna keep glassing. What he's saying, a lot of times you're gonna see the deer just crossing these lines. You can see a little bit into the trees, but there's not that much that you can see because it's pretty dense. So hopefully we can start seeing some deer moving here, crossing the lines, and then we'll get down. I mean, if they come this way, great, but most likely what's gonna happen is we'll have to get down and then put a stock on them once we see them. So there's water troughs down there. They got a pretty cool system for keeping water on here for the cattle, but obviously also the deer can share in that. They have a well way up there, and what they do is it's a gravity fed system. So it starts off as a 4-inch pipe like kilometers away, and then it slowly comes down to a 1-inch pipe, and then they have all these water troughs everywhere with like a pump with a valve on it, like a check valve. So what happens is once those troughs get low, the ball drops and then it opens up the pressure and it actually fills them all automatically, and it's done just solely gravity fed, and they have these all over the property. So it's a pretty neat system that they got to not have to use any like power to actually power the pump. Everything's done with just solely gravity, and it keeps all their cows watered for the entire year. Okay, so we got about an hour and 15 minutes left of the light, and I just saw a doe cross, and then right after, hot on her trail, a buck. He looked like a pretty good buck. He's wider than his ears when he crossed, but I only caught him for 2 or 3 seconds with my binos. We didn't get him on camera. He's about 500 yards out. So they were moving towards the south, and there's actually a fairly big opening over there, and the trees kind of open up down in that area. We were just looking on iHunter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get down, we're gonna hike up this road here, and then we're gonna cut in. There's like a river drainage that goes pretty close to where that opening is, so we can move in there pretty quietly, and hopefully we can intercept them. Alright, so we just hit the riverbed, and we only got about another 600-700 yards to hike in until things really start opening up for us. So we're just gonna quietly walk through here. It's nice and quiet, easy blow sand to be stalking in. Hopefully once we get in there we can pick them back up. They seem to be headed in this direction, so I'm hoping this works out for us. You can hear him walking. He's right there behind that brush. It's too thick. This clearing right here. He's walking towards the clearing. He's straight to the right of that cactus. Are you sure? Yeah. I can't see him. Can you still see him? No. It's right there. It's right there. It's 80 yards. Okay, are you on him? Shit. He moved. He's moving left. Yeah. Are you on him? That is a really nice buck. Ooh. Did he just drop there? My heart is racing. Ooh. We spotted him. I mean, we had him there, and then he just kept slowly just walking away. Fortunately, this is just like nice, easy, quiet sand. I think that's the biggest buck I've ever killed. He was just like wide deep forked.
That was an elk.
Oh, that happened quick. That was like a good 10-minute stalk that we put on him, just playing cat and mouse. I had him and he walked into the sunlight, lost him. Cheese had him, Cheese lost him. The boys got her done in Mexico. Oh. Let's go get some eyes on him. He's done, buddy. He is done. Big, deep forks on him. What an absolute stud of a buck. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. They have much smaller bodies than a Canadian mule deer, that's for sure. I couldn't be happier. Could not be happier. Actually, I'm a little sad that my dad's not down here because it would have been really cool to do this with him, but he's up top with Trav, so I'm hoping that they're seeing some action up there as well. But hey, whatever it takes, we got it done. 1 deer on the ground, 4 days left to go. We're gonna make it happen for the old man.
Now there's one thing I want to point out here, and that's the tough living conditions these deer face while making a home in the desert. During times of drought like they're facing right now, these deer resort to getting much of their daily water intake from chomping on cactus. Now, as you can clearly see with this buck, his face, mouth, and neck are covered in cholla. The thorns are a few inches long, and they're dug in so deep I have a hard time pulling them out with my fingers. I could only imagine how irritating the ones in his tongue and the roof of his mouth must be.
This buck is rutted up. You can see his ribs here. That means he's been rutting for weeks now. It's pretty wild to see once they start really getting to this stage of the rut. They lose all that fat that they gained. I mean, this guy might not have made it through the rut, you know, like he is really skinny. It's cool to be taking a buck like this out of the herd, just an old, mature deer. And I'm sure 3 weeks ago he would have looked like an absolute beast, but right now he's kind of down to a skeleton figure. But check out this shot with the 270. A lot of people have been asking, how do you get your animals to drop so much? Like when you take a shot, boom, they just drop, they don't move. The shot placement, guys, is high lung. If you see here, I'm about 3 inches below the spine. And that, once that bullet hits there, it clips the top of the lungs and it just drops them. It shatters right here in their spine and they're just done immediately. So that is my all-time favorite shot placement, guys. If you got an animal standing broadside, top lung, that thing is just gonna, boom, collapse in its spot. No tracking required, and just the most ethical kill that you could possibly do.
Now, as I began breaking this buck down, I quickly realized he had some major health issues.
All right, so I'm just in the process of breaking this deer down. We just pulled the guts out of him, and the smell is disgusting. When I cut out his lungs, it's full of like milky pus, and it stinks really bad. If you look inside here, you see it's just full of this white, milky stuff. His blood is like a cream color almost. And now we're finding a bunch of worms all over the meat. I don't know, I'm still gonna quarter it out and pack the meat out of here, but I don't know how safe this is to eat. I was really hoping tomorrow morning we were gonna have ourselves a whole bunch of deer meat, a nice little fiesta out here, but I'm not 100% sold now. So that really sucks. I've never seen this before. I've seen worms in bears, but never in the meat. So I just pulled that one out of the meat.
The next major cause for concern was all the cysts between the skin and the meat. which leaked milky fluids all over the meat while I was processing it.
I wasn't really paying much attention earlier, but now that we're looking back at it, after we shot him, he had a whole bunch of foam, white foam coming out of his mouth. If you see here, it's still there's still some right here. I think this deer was really, really sick. Yeah. Anyways, I think we did him a favor by killing him, but again, not boding too well for the edibility of this deer.
Now, I've never seen anything like this before, so I decided to do some digging and try and figure out what all of this could be. After consulting with the local fish and game, we showed them the images, and we concluded that the buck had tuberculosis as well as roundworms. I was informed that eating a deer that is infected with tuberculosis likely could lead to me contracting the disease myself, which was not a risk I was willing to take. Not want to let a good opportunity go to waste, Francisco recommended we set the meat out in a clearing, so we can help him dispatch a couple of coyotes who will surely come and check it out over the coming days. Next time on Alpine Carnivore.
We got the gun, we got a coyote collar.
It's exciting. I've got 5 does and a buck.